Hello everyone and welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm going to be bringing you my review of the Smith & Wesson M&P9 Shield handgun. Before we get started, of course, the handgun is unloaded. There's nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine well, no ammunition in the magazine, no ammunition present on the workbench. This firearm, as of October 2015, retails MSRP for $449. The lowest that I could find brand new was $310, and the average price for these currently is $369. This is a semi-automatic striker-fired pistol. It is compact. It is chambered in the 9x19 Luger or 9mm round. The average cost for that ammunition right now is about 27 cents a round for the Winchester White Box, and about 79 cents a round for a Hornady Critical Defense self-defense round. The frame material is black polymer, and the slide material is a melanite-coated stainless steel, both in a matte finish. The weight of this gun unloaded is 18.4 ounces, and the empty magazine is 2.4 ounces here in the 8-round capacity. The weight of both of those together is 20.8 ounces. The weight of a fully loaded 8-round magazine is 5.65 ounces. And really the weight that matters is a completely loaded gun plus one in the chamber, and that comes in at 24.45 ounces. The overall length of this firearm, from muzzle to the back of the frame here, is 6.13 inches. The overall height, as measured from the top of the sights to the bottom of this 8-round magazine, is 5.06 inches. The overall width of the slide and of the grip are both 0.94 inches, with the widest part of the gun being 1 inch on the nose, and that is the slide stop. The barrel length is 3.1 inches, and the magazine capacity is 8 rounds. It also comes with a flush mount 7-round magazine. The trigger pull weight is 6.5 pounds. The trigger type is a single action. The sights are a 3-dot drift adjustable front, windage adjustable rear sights, both made out of steel. Safeties on this gun are, of course, the signature Smith & Wesson hinged trigger. I consider it a broken trigger. And there is, of course, the option for a manual safety. This firearm has that option. The intended purpose for this firearm comes down to concealment. That is the intended purpose for this firearm. It was exactly why it was created. A very slim, single-stack 9mm for self-defense purposes. Unique features, there really aren't any unique features on this firearm. The other ones, if you go up a bit, the M&P9C, the M&P9, etc., have the palm swells interchangeable, but this does not. It just has that adjustable palm swell look with the little texturing right there. Options, both manufacturer and aftermarket, really almost endless. You can get trigger upgrades, sight upgrades, magazine base plate upgrades, magazine spring upgrades, really almost endless options there. Accessory availability, lasers. Crimson Trace makes a nice laser for the trigger guard here. The Talon grips, and of course holster options are almost innumerable. But now what you're really watching this video for, firing test comments. What do I think about this gun? Well, I think it's a great firearm. I think it is arguably the most popular concealed carry option currently on the market, and for good reason. I mean, it's made by a very reputable company. It definitely had a lot of thought put into it during its creation. I think it's a very well-made gun. Having said that, I probably wouldn't buy this firearm. Couple reasons. First, I think there are other firearms in the single-stack 9mm class that offer better out-of-the-box shootability, I guess you could say. I really don't like these M&P broken triggers. The first thing I would have to do if I bought this firearm would be replace that trigger with an Apex tactical trigger or something similar. So there's another $100 onto the cost of this firearm, which is already right about middle of the range for the class that it's in. I think the gun for my hand is just a bit too. It's not that the grip is thin, but it's long from here to here, which kind of opens up your hand a little bit, which doesn't feel very good in the hand. There are other guns in this class where when you grip it, you're almost right around it. I think for the money, I would probably go with the M&P9C. It's a little bit thicker, but it gives you a 12-round capacity, and also with the standard 12-round flat base plate on that, it is shorter than the flat base plate for this firearm, which is 7 rounds. So same base plate, basically the same gun, you're talking 5-round capacity difference, and it feels better in the hand. That's my personal preference. Lastly on this firearm, before we break it down, is this slide stop. While they were trying to make the gun very thin, I think they went a little too thin with this slide stop. I'm trying to show you here just how thin this firearm is, and you can barely see the slide stop there. I mean, that's really what they were going for. The problem is, when you go to drop it after inserting a magazine, it can be tough. It can be extremely tough, in fact. So, while that probably had more to do with the spring in the magazine than it did with the slide release, I promise you there really isn't much purchase on that to drop it forward. Alright, so that said, let's break this thing down. I'll show you how to take it apart. With the slide in the lock back position, you're going to rotate your takedown lever, and then slide forward, hold the trigger, everything comes apart. From there, of course, you have your dual capture recoil guide rod and springs, and your barrel. Now the barrel on this is, it's not the longest in its class. It's 3.1 inches. Now that is for a couple reasons. One, they wanted to keep the overall length down, but also, as you can see, look at all the room back here. It's almost just as long back here as it is, barrel length. So it's all about grip angle and how everything comes in. I think it has more to do with how wide, again, this grip is. I think the gun could actually be shorter overall if they did something about the width of that grip. Reassembly is, of course, opposite as disassembly. It's a very simple process. Lock back, forward, down, function test. Now, the really good thing about this trigger, this stock M&P trigger, over other stock M&P triggers from, let's say, the M&P9 full size, one of the biggest complaints that Smith & Wesson got was the reset on the full size M&P9s. There really was no audible click, there was no haptic feedback, there was nothing. You couldn't feel it, you couldn't hear it. Well, with the Shield, you can hear it and you can feel it. It's there. So that is one good thing that they did for a trigger that, in my opinion, is inferior to others in its class. One last thing we'll touch on before I end this video is the accuracy. While admittedly I'm not the world's best marksman, I also use extremely cheap ammunition. My spread was 4.25 inches for 5 shots. As you can see here, 2 of them hit pretty good. I got really close to center with that one from 10 yards. And 4.25 inches I think is perfectly acceptable for a concealed carry single stack 9mm for personal protection. Again, 30 feet. If you have to ever draw and use a firearm in personal defense situation, odds are it's not going to be a 10-yard situation. It's going to be a 3-yard situation. So 4.25 inches at 10 yards I think is perfectly acceptable. Some final thoughts on the M&P9 Shield. I think this firearm is a very good firearm. I think with a trigger job, this might be the best concealed single stack 9mm on the market. But again, given what I've said before, I really would probably opt for an M&P9C if I were to stay with the Smith & Wesson on the 9mm concealed carry platform. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to leave those below, and I will talk to you all again very soon.